Welcome to the LDS Mental Health Podcast. This is a podcast for faithful women who want healing in their relationships, guidance from God, and internal peace. Each week, you'll hear mental health concepts taught through a spiritual lens from me, a licensed clinical mental health counselor, to help you start thinking in a higher and holier way. All right, I'm so excited about this episode. We have an amazing guest to come on. We are talking about less stress, more income, and how to become a work from home virtual assistant. And so I really wanted to talk about this month. We're talking about overwhelm. And one of the things I think that really overwhelms women is finances or not being able to contribute that to their finances. And how that can affect your mental health. Like there's a huge tie-in to all of that. So I'm really excited to welcome Laura Jennings to this episode to talk to us more about how you guys can have more control and influence into your finances. So welcome to the podcast, Laura.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. Why don't you tell people a little bit about you, who you are, and kind of what you do?
My name is Laura, and I am a virtual assistant and also a virtual assistant coach. And so I actively still work with clients. I am still in the industry, but for the past 2.5, almost 3 years now, I have also been coaching other moms on how to make this happen. It has been a life-changing opportunity for myself and my family. And fun little fact, I used to be a college professor prior to this, and so I
What?
missed teaching. I did not miss trying to convince 18-year-olds to turn in their homework. Not one bit, but I did miss teaching and that connection just with people, right? And so I realized, oh, I could teach other moms how to make this happen too. And so it's really cool. I get the best of both worlds. I get to do the client work and then I also get to be the teacher and help my students. So,
I love this. I love this. And we got connected because of Rachel Coons.
yep.
I knew her and had her on the podcast episode, and we talked about making a difference with your finances if you don't go get a job. And so
Mhm.
I was really excited that you reached out to talk about this because I think this can be really cool. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into being a VA? So, VA is a virtual assistant, and maybe
Yes.
we could talk about that too. If sometimes tell people, like, I have 3 VAs, and they're like, what is a VA?
Yeah.
so,
You're like,
so
they're a
tell us about
lifesaver, is what they are.
yes, exactly. They run my life. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you got into it and how you discovered that.
Yeah, absolutely. So a virtual assistant is just that you're an online business owner, right? And so virtual assistants work with online business owners really to help a lot of times with like admin, back end, behind the scenes kind of things that have to be done to run a business, but the business owner doesn't need to be the person doing those tasks. And I had never heard of it in my life. I was 33 when I heard about it for the first time, postpartum with my one and only. I was 5 months postpartum. At the time, I was the college professor, and I got to be home for the semester that my daughter was born. And then I taught online for a little bit purposely so that I could be home with her. And when I had to go back on campus to actually like have set class times and office hours and all the meetings and everything, I just very quickly realized like I didn't want someone else controlling my schedule anymore because it was now our schedule, right? It was affecting her. And she was always in good hands, but I didn't want to have to leave her just because I had to be somewhere at a certain time. But we were not in a financial situation for me to be a stay-at-home mom. We were living paycheck to paycheck. We were paying dearly for our 20s, right? I think a lot of us are like,
Mhm.
yeah, we didn't know what we were doing in our 20s and we're still paying for it. So it just wasn't an option for me not to have a paycheck. And I was like, I genuinely don't know what to do here. And then a friend was like, you should be a virtual assistant. And I was like, what in the world is that? I was like, I've never heard of that. Honestly, it sounded too good to be true. So I was like, that doesn't even make
Yeah.
sense. How can someone do this? But my friend was in the online business space and she was familiar with it. And I said, I've never even been an admin. Like I was a restaurant manager and a teacher. Like, how could I do admin work? And she was like, it doesn't matter. You have the skills, you have the personality, most importantly, and like the character traits. And so I said, all right, I mean, I guess I'll try. Like, it's not going to hurt, right? Tried. I signed two very part time clients in the first month because I was 5 months postpartum, had a full time job. couldn't take on too much, but found that it was fun. And I was like, oh, I was literally would have her like contact napping on me in the recliner with my computer on my lap or like doing stuff on my phone. And I was like, this is wild that I'm making money right now while this is the situation. And then about 5 months in, I signed one contract with a new client and it was a $4,000 per month contract. And so that
Wow.
one client matched and actually replaced by a couple $1,000s my entire teaching salary for a year. And that was the moment where I was like, oh, maybe like it was great as like a side hustle supplemental, but also maybe this could actually be the solution to replace my income. I'm very type A and logical brain, so I did not leave teaching yet because I was scared that it was too good to be true. But then in October,
Mhm.
I signed another big ticket client. And so I replaced my teaching salary in 5 months. I doubled it in a year. I tripled it in 2.5 years or a little over 2 years. And I've made six-figure years since. But I'm just so passionate
Amazing.
about it because it has so much potential. You could make $500 a month if that's what you're looking for, or you can make 5,000 plus if that's what you're looking for. It's so like individual. And that's really why I love coaching it because I can help women and all people who want to homeschool, people who want to supplement a full time, stay at home moms who are like, I want to help cover half the mortgage, or like help pay off debt, or I want to be the one that saves for the trip to Disneyland this summer. You can do any and all of those things. It's just, I like just got chills because I was just thinking about all the messages I give from my
So
students who are like,
amazing.
"Oh, I just paid off our debt," and but yeah,
Uh,
it's very very cool. It's
yeah.
honestly life changing. I know that sounds very cliche, but we were able to purchase a home. We've paid off
Mhm.
thousands, tens of thousands of dollars of debt. We've been able to travel more, go visit family more, and we're not putting it on a credit card. I just was talking on my social media the other day that like Christmas for years and years was so stressful
Yeah.
because we're big gift givers, but it was going on a credit card. And so we were like, it's fun, but also
Yeah.
like, how much am I going to pay for this? Right. Whereas now it's like, okay, we
Yeah.
have X amount in cash in the bank. Like, that's our budget. Go for it. And like, it's just a different way that you get to experience life, when you
Yeah.
have that extra
Yes.
cash coming in. So,
I love how versatile it is too. Like
yes.
anybody listening to this can use some extra cash these days, whether it's
Oh
for
my gosh.
groceries,
Yes.
whether it's,
Yes.
you want to invest in yourself and do things that better you, whether it's that you have a kid going to college or, you are retired and you are on a fixed income. That's what I hear
Hmm.
quite often is women
Yep.
who are on a fixed income and they can do something. They can do
Hmm.
this. So why don't you tell us a little bit about like if someone's listening to this the first time, like you were, like, what is a virtual assistant? Like, what are
Yeah.
all the range of things that someone as a virtual assistant could do?
Yeah. So the easiest way and the way that I see most women enter the space is by offering like general admin and customer service. Number one, it's an easy entry point because we as women are just very naturally good at admin. And that looks like helping a client answer their emails. If they have people who send in questions about their program or their product, or have a question about payment, or maybe want a refund, or maybe they tried to download a freebie and they can't find it and they don't know where it is and you need to resend the link.
Mhm.
Very simple things. But again, those kinds of things are vital to a business being successful. But the business owner doesn't have to be the person doing it. And when you can step in and take honestly very simple tasks, I always tell women, people always ask me, like, is it hard? Is it hard being a VA? And I'm like, no. Like the work is not hard. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
complex. It's not like
Yeah.
you don't have to be techie. You don't have to like know JavaScript or HTML code. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not
Yeah. Yep.
that the work is hard. I say that we as a VA, like you're like a sanity saver for your
Mhm.
clients. Because that people always ask me, they're like, why would someone pay me $30 an hour to answer their email? And it's like, because
Yeah.
they don't have to answer their email and they don't have to think about
Yeah.
it. They get to free up their mental load, right? But literally
Mhm.
answering emails. A lot of people in the online business space have communities like Facebook groups or Telegram or Discord, moderating those, approving people into them, approving posts, keeping things tagged in like the featured section or the important section. Very, very simple things,
Mhm.
but they're
Yeah.
important. Customer service is massive. Small business owners, their reputation is everything, and word of mouth is
Yeah.
everything. So when you can be that friendly professional front who's giving quick, solid answers, the beauty in this industry is that it doesn't mean being on the phone. I talk to a
Mhm.
lot of stay-at-home
Yeah.
moms who are like, I can't do it if I have to be on the phone. And I'm like, you don't ever, because everything's through email, right? When's the
Mhm.
last time you called a small business about a question,
Right?
and online? You don't.
Yep.
You send an email.
Exactly.
So I always tell
Yep.
moms, I'm
Or
like, you
message
could
their
have
website. Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, you could have a literal tornado happening behind you and like you're fine. And there's so many more. If you are a techie type person, there's more tech-based things you can do, like helping to set up automations for like ManyChat or helping set up, opt-in pages, things like that. But the most common space that I see women enter the industry is really that general admin because that's the most in demand. Every small
Yeah.
business has to do those things. And 99% of small business owners don't want to do those things. They need reports run. They need to know the numbers of their business, like sales and refunds and opt ins and all these things. But again, they don't need to be the person going in and actually clicking the buttons to get the report. And so when we can do that and then put it in a pretty spreadsheet, and that's what they get to
Yep.
look at, again, not complex, not hard, but
Mhm.
saving their sanity. So a lot
Yeah.
of these things are things we're already doing as moms, especially on a daily freaking basis, whether it's at work
Yes.
or it's just managing our home. We're already doing these things.
I couldn't agree more. So I have 3 essentially VAs. So one of mine is, like you're saying, is customer service. She
Mhm.
answers all my emails. She's in my membership and helping people when they want to cancel, when they want to join. I need to change my credit card. And she's behind any email somebody comes in because it is a mental load. Like I work full time as a mental health therapist and
Yeah.
I own this business. And so for me to come home from a full day of work as a therapist and then have to respond to emails is just overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
Nobody would get a response. So,
Mhm.
like, it's worth it to me
Mhm.
to pay somebody else so that my mind can be freed up to focus on people in a different way in the membership.
Exactly.
I can email her and say, this isn't working on the website. Can you go fix this? And really, we meet and we record what we're talking about, and then she can go back and click and do
Yeah.
these things. Like it's not that you have to know those things. She
Mhm.
had no idea about how to do a website or a landing page or any of
Yeah.
those things, but she knows them now. And I just hired an assistant for her because the
Oh,
customer
fun.
service was getting so big
Yeah.
that I was like, we just have things that are just like rinse and repeat, right? Like,
Mhm.
okay, reset up all these text messages for the membership, reset up all these emails for the membership, And so now she assigns them to her VA and
Yeah.
she gets to stay in this higher level stuff to be able to do. And then I also have somebody on the other side that does my social media. After I record this episode, this is the last thing that I do. And she
Yeah.
takes it over and
Same
she
here.
creates
When I
all the
record my
content.
podcast, I just
Yeah.
send a message and I'm like, hey, it's in the drive. Like, I'll see it when it ends up on
Yes.
the platform.
Yes, and there's so many people that are so creative out there with like creating little Canva things
Yeah.
or story slides or ways that you interact with me on Instagram. She's helping come up with that out of
Mhm.
the content from the podcast episode. So
Mhm.
everybody has talents, right? Each of my VAs have specific talents and they do those things because they have that talent. I've switched them around and I've done different things like, okay, it looks like you do really good at this and you do really good at this. So
Mhm.
these are your tasks and you have a talent out there. If you're like, "Oh, I could never do this. I'm not computer savvy." I guarantee you could learn it.
You're
I
fine.
guarantee you can learn
You're
how to do
fine.
something.
If I always say,
Yes.
if you can send an email and you can like Google, if you can maneuver Google, if you can use something in Google Drive and you can send an email and
Uh-huh.
like attach a link to it, you're
Yeah.
good. You're golden. And you brought
Yes.
up a really important thing that a lot of women have that fear. It's just such a common. The two biggest fears I hear from women are I don't actually have any skills. Like, what would I do? What would I offer? And how do I find clients? Right? Like, those are
Yeah.
always the two fears. But you brought up something really important is that clients always train you. They don't have this
Yeah.
expectation that you're going to come in and just like pop in. As a virtual assistant, we are freelancers. We're 1099. So you're not somebody's employee. But in the sense of if you were to go get a W-2 job, right? They're going to onboard you, they're going to train you. It's the
Yeah.
same thing
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Small business
Uh-huh.
owners, honestly, maybe even more so, not to the point of like micromanaging, but it's like that business is their baby. They're going to want
Yep.
things done a certain way. They're going to want it done right. And clients, they expect to train us and teach us. They just don't want to have to teach you the same thing 5 times. And so
Yep.
most people do what you do. They hop on a Zoom or they do a Loom recording, walk you through literally step by step. You
Uh-huh.
click here, you do this, you click here, you export it. These are the columns I want, da da da. And then you have access to that to go back and write out your own little list of instructions and you just replicate it. And clients
Exactly.
usually give you like a learning curve time. It's like so I am a VA. I'm a VA coach, but I also have two VAs because I run a small
Yeah.
business, right? And so even if I give my VA something new, there's always that time where it's like, okay, you do it, I'll check it, I'll give you feedback. I don't expect her to just get it the first time. I just expect that
Mhm.
it's not going to have to be like, okay, here's the same thing I said 5 times. Let's try again.
Yeah.
So if you're a
Yeah.
quick
Yeah.
learner and you're intuitive and you're a critical thinker, if you're a problem solver, you can do this. Simply
Yeah.
put, like
Yeah.
you can do this.
Uh-huh. Yes. I love it. I love it. I think that sometimes too people are like, well, how do you find somebody in that realm? Does that make
Right.
sense? Like
Yes.
that needs a VA.
Yeah. No, it's the number one fear. I think that's what stops so
Yeah.
many women is they're like, I have no clue. I think a lot of women look in the place that our instinct first tells us to look, which is like job listing sites or freelancing sites.
Yeah.
And then they look at those places and the vast majority of them are scams or bots or whatever.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
they're immediately disheartened and frustrated and think like this isn't legit or this isn't real or I'll never find a real
Mhm.
human. And so the method that I teach women to find clients is actually to get really, really clear on who you want to be working for. Who is your ideal client? We don't want to just work for anyone, right? The cool thing
Mhm.
about being a
Mhm.
VA, on top of the fact that it's really individualized and you can make it very specific to you, is that it can actually be really fun work. And it can be really fulfilling work because you can choose who you work with. When you get
Yeah.
a W 2 job, you have no say over your coworkers or your boss or whatever. In this scenario, you have control over the type of person and the type of business that you support. And so I teach, I think, in a very different way than a lot of other VA coaches who are like, post content, reply to this, like sign anybody, right? I'm like, no, 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 no. We're going to be
Yeah.
selective. And so, especially like in my program that walks women through this, the first thing I have them do is figure out who their ideal client is as a
Mm.
human,
I love that.
right? Do you want to work with a woman, a man, a parent, a dog person, a cat person, an introvert, an extrovert, right? Like, who is the type of person that you would align with? This
Yeah.
sounds very unofficial, but a lot of it when you sign a new client, honestly, is like vibes. And maybe you've experienced that
Yeah.
when you've hired yours, where it's like,
Yes. Yeah.
I had a group coaching student who just signed a client like a month ago, and literally on the discovery call, the client told her, she's like, "You're just a vibe, like you're just a like you can feel that connection, right?" Because business
Uh-huh.
owners also want to
Mhm.
bring in someone who fits their team, who does align, who have the personality that they gel and they mesh because it's such a close knit working relationship. So that's where I have women start so that you can then go out and actually intentionally start conversations with those business owners. I
Yeah.
always will give women all of their options. So I always let them know, like, hey, there are these sites, they do exist. There are agencies, they do exist, blah, blah, blah. But that's not where I think you should spend your time. Maybe you love decluttering, right? And like home organization is just like what excites you. Go find those business owners on social media who
Yeah.
also fit the type of person you want to work with, follow them, get on their email list, engage with their content, especially their stories, because when you engage with stories, it goes to their DMs.
Mhm.
Start a genuine conversation without the thought of, oh, I want to work with them or oh, I want to pitch with them. Literally just focused on like human connection first and
Yeah.
foremost. Because to be honest, I've had this happen a lot of times where I'm like, oh my gosh, she's a dream client. And then we interact a few times and I'm like, oh, maybe not. Right? Like
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
feel them out too before you even bother putting effort into putting together a pitch for somebody. That's the approach I take and teach. It's what I've done for 6 years. That's why I've had clients I worked with for 5 years and 3 years and 2 years. Like I think another fear a lot of women have is how realistic is it to make money or is it actually stable? Because as a freelancer, that sounds scary,
Yeah.
right? But when you
Yeah.
do this approach to finding clients and you find people who you are aligned with, that's how we
Mhm.
find people we work with long term. and that we
Right.
grow with them in their business. Our responsibilities grow, our income grows, our rate grows because we're doing more
Mm-hmm.
for them. That's how you create steadiness and stability. And so
Yeah.
it might take a little bit longer on the front end to do the connection and find those clients, but
Yeah.
the ROI and how they pay off
Yes.
over time is insane because again, the client also they want to find somebody who fits. They don't want to have to rehire a new ZA every 3 to 6 months. It's a
Hmm.
lot of work for a
Exactly.
client
Uh-huh.
to train somebody and bring them in. And so they also want someone that you can work with for, as long
Yeah.
as you can think. Again, I have worked with so many
Yeah.
clients, but also like my two VAs, one girl's been with me for 2.5 years, the other one's been with me for
Oh, I
over a
love that.
year. And there's just,
Yeah.
we're just a team, like there's no end in
Yeah.
sight. There's no,
Hmm.
it's just like, yeah, this is it. Like we're doing the dang thing. Let's go.
I
So
love
it's,
that. And you bring up a good point. Like, I want somebody who knows my audience too, right?
mhm.
It's difficult for me to hire a VA that
Yep.
doesn't know my audience, doesn't understand what my goal is, my purpose, my direction, because they're going to have a hard time doing some of those things or
Yep.
finding enjoyment in the things that we're
Mhm.
doing. I want them to have passion for what I'm doing as well. And so I love that tip of being like, go find the people that you're passionate about because that's going to be a great match for both of you, right? For the
Yeah,
business owner, they're going to love that
exactly.
you love their stuff, right?
Yes.
And
And
that
that you're
you
interested.
you want
Yeah.
to you want to grow their business. Like I
Mhm.
want my people to help grow my business just as much as I want it to grow. They're not just like,
Exactly.
"Yep, clocked my
Right.
time for today. Here you go. Good
Right.
luck, Nikki."
No, they're like
Like I want them
excited,
to have passion
invested.
for growing it too.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. And looking
Yeah.
for those things like, "Hey, Nikki, did you see this? Like this isn't going to
Yeah.
be good." Or, "Hey, did you catch this?" So like
Mhm.
those are good things. Like reach out to those people. I love that.
It greatly reduces your risk of things being a scam, right? Like if you're the
Right?
person who's making the
Yes.
connection, because people will tell
Yeah.
me that they're like, oh, I've been looking and I've been applying and like they're all scams. And I'm like, well, where are you looking? And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Indeed, Fiverr. And I'm like,
Yeah.
nope, start
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
do this. When you're the one starting the conversation, it's actually impossible for it to be a scam, right? And so
Right?
you're also
Right.
conserving your own energy because it is,
Yeah.
it's very disheartening. It's very frustrating if you feel like you're getting hit with, loss after loss and things just not being legit. But
Yeah.
when you're taking control of the interactions and you're doing them very
Hmm.
intentionally, you know that your time is not being wasted. Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. So if when women are listening to this and they're like, I've caught the bug. I want to do this. This sounds like something that's going to work in my life. What are
Mhm.
the three small, simple tips that you would give them to kind of get started?
Okay. So I like to kind of start a little bit bigger picture with women because if we go too niche, you can kind of get in the weeds, right?
Yeah.
With too many,
Yeah. Yeah.
too many
Yeah.
details of things to help make decisions.
Yeah.
When women are like, I think this is a good fit for me, the first couple things I have them do is number one, grab a sheet of paper and I want you to write down a weekday and a weekend day and literally go through the whole day with everything that you do, like being really specific. Like on a weekday, I wake up at X time. I'm showering at this time. I'm getting my kid ready for school. I'm packing lunches. We're leaving the house. I'm getting to the office or I'm getting home. It's nap time, like very specific from sun up to sundown. And then a weekend day. And then once you have written all that out, I have women go back through with a highlighter and any spot that you see 10, 20, 30-minute gaps, highlight those because that's going to show you where in your day you could be doing this work and creating income. Because again,
Mm,
moms are busy, right? And it can be so easy to say, I'm too busy. I don't actually have time to fit this in. But a really cool thing about VA work is that most of the tasks that we do only take 10, 15 minutes a piece. Like they're not, you don't need hours to sit down and work uninterrupted. You could literally have your computer out while your kids are doing a craft or having their tech time for the day or running around like crazy people in the backyard playing with each other. You can do this in the pockets of your day. And so seeing it visually usually helps a lot of women be like, oh, okay, I could fit this in. And it's just also going to give you a good sense. You could kind of add those blocks up and see how many hours a week you would feel comfortable starting at working with clients because you can kind of add up, okay,
genius.
weekdays it comes out. Because I always recommend to women to start slow. Start slow, start small. Literally, if you're like, my goal in the next 6 months is to be working 20 hours a week, cool. Aim for 5 to 8 right now. It is
I love
truly
that.
quality over quantity. That slow, steady build is how this can be stable and how you can build a longevity. So that's number one. Figure out, look at it, give yourself that realization, that recognition of, oh, I do have time for this, and here's how much time I have. Number two, you can flip that sheet of paper over or grab a new one. And I want you to brain dump all of your responsibilities, all of the things
Mm.
you do at work and at home. So whether you have a work from home or an office job, or you're a stay-at-home mom, which is a job, for being very
Yeah,
clear,
yeah,
that is a job.
exactly, exactly.
Um, so if you do happen to have a job, you're going to have like a home life column and a work column. And if you're a stay-at-home mom, we can write everything together. Anything that you do in a day that wouldn't get done if you don't do it, like you're the one doing it, no one else is taking care of it for you. Write all those things down. Emailing the doctors, calling the teacher at school, getting the gifts ready, making sure the kids have their book fair money, inventorying the pantry, or prepping the grocery list for the holidays and knowing how many people are coming and how many ingredients you need and getting the order in and checking budget to make sure you stay in budget.
Yeah.
All of those things are skills that can be converted into services that you're offering. And so this is a very helpful, again, kind of just like that big picture of like, oh, when I write it all down, there's a lot there. So I want you to
Yeah.
write down the things that you actually physically do, but then I also want you to write a list. And I think some women feel a little uncomfortable with this because they're like, oh, I gotta really look at myself. I want you to write a list of 15 to 20 character traits of yours, your soft skills. Are you empathetic? Are you a good listener? Are you reliable? Are you a hard worker? Are you self motivated, a critical thinker, a problem solver? How would you describe yourself? It can be uncomfortable because a lot of us can write down 4 or 5, but then you're like 15 or 20, Laura. Like, what? I can't. That's too many. Sit down and give yourself some time and think on it. Because, like we talked about earlier, clients are always going to train you and teach you their systems and their softwares and their processes. And those are hard skills that can be taught, but those soft skills cannot be taught. Clients cannot teach
Exactly. Yeah.
you to be reliable. They cannot teach you
Yeah.
to be a critical thinker. And I have my own VAs, I have my clients, I have a lot of small business owner friends, and across the board, and this number surprises a lot of people, you can tell me if you agree or if you have
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
idea,
Yeah.
but on average, business owners tell me that when they're hiring a virtual assistant, they're placing 70 to 80% of importance on soft skills. And a little bit on,
Yeah.
it's like, as long as I know they could do the things, I don't care what programs they know or what software is. Like, as long as I know I could teach them, I'm good. But if they
Exactly.
don't have these soft skills that I'm looking for, I can't change that. Like,
Hmm.
that's a deal breaker. So I think when a lot of women look at becoming a VA, our natural inclination is to put importance on the hard skills and
Yeah.
say, I don't know how to do enough things, or I don't know enough programs. But in all reality, that
Yeah.
actually matters very little, as long as you're coachable and you're a quick learner and
Hmm.
you can maneuver a
Yep.
compute, which most of us can. It's 2025, almost 2026. Well, I guess now it is
Exactly.
2026 when you're listening to this. Um, we know how to maneuver software. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Right. Right.
but yeah, so hard skills, the things you do, the tasks, but also look at your soft skills because those matter so, so much. And then the third thing we kind of tapped on already is write out who your ideal client is. Really sit and think about that. Like, who would I want to work with? What type of business would be interesting to me to support? Because, y'all, there's online businesses that cover literally like every topic under the sun. Even if you're like, I want to work with someone who coaches. Okay, what do they coach though? Because there's marriage coaches, there's money coaches, there's baby sleep coaches, there's baby led weaning coaches, there's yoga coaches, there's manifestation coaches. Literally, there's
Yeah.
people who coach everything. And this is a cool opportunity, especially for women who I talk to who do have a job and they're in a specific industry. They think they have to stay in that industry. I'm like, no, no, no. You could, but you don't have to, because you could actually just
Yeah.
sit back and be like, what's a hobby of mine? What am I interested in? Maybe you're a paralegal, but you love counting macros and weightlifting. Cool.
Yeah.
Go work with a macro coach, right? Like, you don't have to
Yeah.
stay and try and work with a lawyer. Go do something that
Yeah.
fills your cup and is fun. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But write it out in this some of these things that when I say them out loud, I'm like, this sounds really cheesy. Write out who that person is like you would if you were writing out for like a dating site. Like, who are you
Really?
looking for? Be specific. How do they communicate? Are they an introvert? Are they an extrovert? What's their personality like? In addition to, what is their business? Who are they serving? Who are they supporting? Right? Because you need to believe in their business and their impact to be a good team member for them. But that's going to help you get clear so that you can go start finding those people. And sometimes when women get stumped on this and they're like, I don't know, I can't think of anything, go into your Instagram and pay attention to whose stories you always watch, right? Like when you see
Oh.
story bubbles, we all have
Yeah.
those women who were like, oh yeah, she's up. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm not missing her, compared to other ones where we're like, yeah, maybe I'll watch it tomorrow, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pay attention to who those people are. What about them are you drawn to? And do you see a pattern or a trend in what they're teaching about? Because that's
Yeah.
going to give you some insight from your subconscious, right? Like we can thank ourselves for like,
Mhm.
hey, that made it a lot easier. So that's a tip I give to
Exactly.
if you're feeling stuck on like, oh, I don't know, Laura, go start
Yeah.
and see who you're interested in on social.
I love that. These are amazing tips. I think it can help you build that confidence, right? Like once
Hmm.
you're getting down, like, do I have the time? What are my skills I already have? And what are some of these character traits that I have? You can look at that and be like, oh, I do have something to offer here. This is
Yeah.
something that I can look for and something I'm excited about. And so this has been amazing. I'm so excited.
Good.
And I want you to talk about your masterclass and your podcast
Mhm.
too, because I think when listening to this, they might feel like, this is great, but maybe I need some help, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
I need some extra support in this. And that's what Laura does with her business. So talk about your masterclass. We'll link in the show notes and your podcast too, if they want to learn
Yeah,
more.
absolutely. So the masterclass, both of these are free resources. I am all about helping to educate, right? Because
Yeah.
again, this
Yeah.
is it's such an incredible opportunity and it blows my mind that there are still so many women who just haven't even heard of it. Or if they do,
Yeah.
it's very minimal and they're like, I don't actually know what this means. And so that's a big part of what I do is just teaching, right? So that women know
Mhm.
so that they can make a choice on if it's something they want to do or not. That's what my masterclass is designed to do. It's very much so a getting started space where first and foremost you're going to get a bigger picture understanding of what a VA is and does, who you are working with, etc. But there also are some action steps sprinkled in. But the goal of the masterclass when I created it was I want every woman who listens to it to get to the end and be able to make an educated decision on whether this is something that's a good fit for their lifestyle, their personality, and their income goals. Whether it's a fit for their lifestyle, their personality, and their income goals. And sometimes it's not. And I'm like, great, I'm glad you figured that out, right? Because when we have these
Yeah.
ideas swirling in our brain, they can take up a lot of our energy and our thought process. But if you can eliminate something, then it's like, cool, you know it's not a fit for
Yeah.
you and like cross it off your list. So the masterclass is great for that. It's very informative, but again, you have some action steps if you feel like it is something you want to pursue. And then I have my podcast. It's called Your Virtual Assistant Coach. We have tons of episodes covering all kinds of things from like ideas for services, signs you'd be good as a VA. I do some myth busting ones because I have some very different beliefs than a lot of other coaches in the
Yeah.
industry. And it's all of my stuff is very like mom sized, bite sized. The master class is a bit longer because it's all in one space, but podcast episodes are like 8 to 15 minutes on average. So you can just pop in and listen to it quick and get what you need. We cover a lot of mindset stuff in the podcast too, because I'm big on that. But yeah, they're really fun. And if y'all listen to either of them, I would also love for you to send me a message on Instagram. I love to just chat with women and actually like get to know the people that I teach and
Yeah.
why what their motivation is and what their goals are. So I would love to hear from anyone who's listening and be able to chat about the opportunity.
I love it. We're going to link all those. We'll link Laura's Instagram as well on there so you guys can reach out to her. We'll link the masterclass and her podcast so you guys can go check those out. I hope that if you guys are listening and this just sparked a little bit of an interest, just do something small. Do one of those tips
Mhm.
that she
Yeah.
recommended and see where that goes. But thank you so much for coming on, Laura. I really appreciate you taking the time to share all this awesome knowledge.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was so nice to be able to come chat.
Thank you for listening to the LDS Mental Health Podcast. I hope you were able to find ways of healing, guidance, and peace. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend who would love to start thinking in a higher and holier way as well. Or hit that follow button so you don't miss out on any episodes. Also, check out the links in my show notes for other episodes you might like and links for other mental health resources on my website.